welcome back to another episode of another Bourbon Show. We've been on here for 45 minutes talking about shitty movies, some really bad movies, to be honest with you, but entertaining movies. But we decided it's time to drink, and tonight we're going to be drinking one of my low-key favorites. Like, I really love this one. It's one that I really do think is extremely underrated. It's an MGP product that is actually MGP. It's Rossville Union Barrel Proof. So this one is 112 proof. Comes in at about $60, I think. Okay. Around 70, I guess. But 112 proof. Rossville Union comes out in a couple different versions. There's bottled and bond, there's small batch, and there's small batch, and there's barrel proof. Before we do anything else, Steven, what do you think of this label?
I think this label looks pretty good. It's a little simple. Right off the bat, I think it looks a little similar. It has that kind of almost belt buckle type look to it that I think is similar to like a Jack Daniel's barrel proof. It's like a single barrel proof almost. That kind of look to it, and I think it's pleasant, but this is one that I know that I passed up multiple times on the shelf, because it just blends in. Something about Rossville as a name, it doesn't evoke anything for me as just an average person. So I think I'm just giving this one a straight 5. I think it's not bad. I don't want to give it anything under a 5, but I think I'm giving it a 5 just because I know that I've passed over this one. And it just kind of feels very basic to me. Nothing really makes it stand out that much. It's one of those, again, that I rate the label, but the bottle I think does look nice. I don't know. I think the glass of the bottle does a lot of the work for it here, and it just looks okay to me.
Ryan, anything you want to add?
I feel like it's a mix of a Woodford Reserve bottle and a Jack Single Barrel bottle in one. Kind of's got the front Jack Single Barrel look to it, and then a hybrid Woodford bottle that's taller and skinnier.
Okay. It says Rossville in glass on the side.
Yeah,
that matters.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think the glass does a lot of work for it there, but I don't rate that.
Okay. So MGP, they blend 2 of their products together for Rossville Union. They blend parts of their 95 rye 5% barley mash bill, just often referred to as 95.5, and then they also mix that together with their barley rye, which is their 51% rye, 45% corn, 4% barley mash bill. They merge that together, and that is what creates Rossville Union. I don't know the breakdown on percentages, like how much of it is 95.5, how much of it is their barley rye. But yeah, that's what it is. Have y'all ever? Yeah, Steven, you said you've passed it up before, but you don't think you've ever had it, right?
I don't think so. It's possible
Ryan,
in some bar, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Ryan, this being Sazerac, or not a Sazerac product, there's no chance you've ever had it. We already know that.
Hey, I sell other things.
Yeah, but you only drink Sazerac products, it seems.
No.
Oh, he's turned into a little bit of a Heaven Hill boy too.
What are you talking about, dude? I got Stumpies right here.
Unless
he sold them to Sazerac.
He didn't. Not
breaking news.
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, Steven, is we'll have a kick-ass episode and you'll just delete the motherfucker. So, like,
yeah. Let me just go ahead and say that was no accident. Okay.
Yeah, I figured it wasn't. You would take the best episode we've ever had, bar none, and you would accidentally delete it. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Well,
that was the best we've ever done.
I broke the seal now, and so I have this in my back pocket anytime I want, and I'm just like, I sit down to edit the episode, and I'm like, you know what? Nah. And that's what I did. And I like doing it. I will do it again. I will delete any episode I feel like there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Well,
which is
our
crazy
listeners,
because it was our Pappy 23 year episode.
yep, our listeners, we apologize, but Steven had a Ryan sized fuck up, but at least Steven took took the blame for it, accepted responsibilities. He didn't have his dad come in to fix the problem.
When does he ever? I don't understand.
Oh my God. The fact that you don't even know. You know, I felt bad about it for like a millisecond. And I was like, man, Ryan does literally nothing for us. I was like, I made it 90 episodes before accidentally deleting an episode. I don't care. It is what it is.
I got a mic. I got a mic and a webcam now, dude.
That is true. You did the bare minimum. That is true. But, you know, so we reviewed Oak and Eden, and the people didn't get to see that.
Yeah. And I've tossed the bottle because I killed it that night. So I can't like display it.
I can put it right here. I'll put it here. And then I'll put our reviews right here. And then you can see that you didn't really miss a phenomenal one. But I thought it was an interesting episode because they had the spires in there. You know? And it turns out that's kind of mostly what their whole brand is. It seems like right now anyway, based on that bottle. Yeah. So that was our thoughts in a nutshell, I guess.
Our thoughts were essentially not worth the price.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What do you think of that nose?
That was funny. It's definitely like sweeter. Like I get a lot of vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a cream soda-esqueness to it as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like it cream soda Big Red. I was smelling that.
I don't get Big Red, but I get that. I definitely get cream soda. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Steven. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not wrong, but
like I said, I told you you're not wrong.
We understand that, dude.
Sensitive bitch.
I'm curious your thoughts on this one, Ryan. Rossville Union, because I know you're a big fan of the Confederacy.
Wow, dude.
Ryan, why are you putting the stars and bars up? Why would you do that?
I don't know, man.
How do you have that just tucked away under your desk all the time?
Yeah.
This is a super flavorful though. Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
A ton of flavor immediately.
I do get that. It's a lot of richness and creaminess. I didn't think it was going to be. I didn't think we'd get another rye that was as like chocolatey, like nutmeggy. It's very sweet and decadent. And not knowing anything about the brand prior to tonight, I saw the bottle and kind of judged it by its cover, but I did not expect the decadence that this has.
Yeah, so when you're grabbing a rye, especially a high rye, right? Like I mean, like this has got a even if it's 50-50 matchup, you're at 75% rye essentially. You don't expect it to have the vanilla flavors that come out of it and the fruit flavors that you get from it. And like there's like a depth of flavors as well. There's like layers of flavors. And yeah, I just glad to hear you guys say that. Like you smell the cream soda and then you taste it and you're just like, oh, it's that strong. Like there's so much vanilla in it that it gives it that cream soda type smell even. Like it permeates out of it.
Yeah, nice long finish. There's something on the finish I don't love. There's some note that's a little funky to me, but I can't quite place it.
What is it? What a similar type note.
It's almost like an over oakiness that I get. It doesn't last that long. It does go away, but it is there for a minute. Yeah, it's strange. I typically am not bothered too much by oakiness, but I would say about 3/4 of the way through the sort of experience, I just get something that kind of flashes and goes. But overall, I find the finish pleasant too.
It lasts forever.
And one of the things that I've always been impressed with by the barrel proof is that, I mean, it's 112 proof, that's up there. Like, but it doesn't like punch you in the face. It doesn't punch you in the gut. You get a long hug. You get a long finish. You get the complexity, but it's not harsh.
It's a great example of like burn versus warmth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's no harshness to it whatsoever. It reminds me a little bit of Jaeger, actually, in that way. That Jaeger, you wouldn't say it was like it burns, but there's something about Jaeger where it just sticks in your throat and everything. It's a similar feeling on the throat feel.
The color is it's not too dark either, which I thought, for a higher barrel proof, it would be a little darker, but I guess it's a rye too, so might not always be the case. But
there's somebody I used to confuse with Mandy Moore all the time. I can't remember who it is now, but Mandy Moore is like one of the most. I always forget Mandy Moore as a person.
She seems very robotic. I'll put it.
Yeah, like that stupid NBC show, This Is Us. Like we watched the first season, but it's just like, God, she is just so unlikable. There's just something about her where like a robot, like very robotic.
I figured she was a youth minister somewhere. I didn't think she was in entertainment anymore.
She opened for Backstreet Boys when I was a kid. I saw the Backstreet Boys and Mandy Moore was the opener.
You saw the Backstreet Boys?
When I was like 8.
How have we not talked about this before? Who'd you go with? What was this? Tell the whole story.
Oh, it was, I think my mom and dad took me, and then
you just went with your mom and dad to a Backstreet Boys concert?
And a cousin. I was 8 years old.
Which one did you jack off to after the show?
Kevin. Who was the dumb looking one? Howie or?
I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I know Nick Carter, and that might be the only one whose name that I know.
Brian, was he the other one?
Nick Carter was part of it?
That sounds right.
I think it's Brian.
Right.
Kevin left.
So there was Nick Carter, Howie Duro, AJ McLean, Brian Luttrell, and Kevin Richardson. So here's what's crazy to me. Tell me these guys don't look like they could have been cast in Dumb and Dumber.
They could. Maybe that's who. Maybe they modeled the characters off them.
Like that is 100% Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah, that's a straight bowl cut.
I also feel like the Kevin dude could have been like.
Which one is Kevin?
Kevin's I got all the cameras right here. I think he's the one in the corner. I feel like he's like Patrick Sharp's long lost brother.
Who's Patrick Sharp?
Played for the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like they look a lot alike. One of them, I think, didn't Nick date Britney Spears before Timberlake, or am I crazy? I
don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what the Googler says.
I could be wrong. This is going back like 20 years.
If Annie would, it looks like they did. Nick Carter
kind of
also
thing...
dated Paris Hilton.
One thing I'll say about Ryan is on this like celebrity dating thing, he never misses. Have you noticed that, Dan?
Yeah.
I would never have bet against what he just said.
Oh, or or soft drinks from the mid '90s.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
That's a losing battle.
But I always feel like they're like, stayed in their level of fame, right?
Yeah.
Like Christina Aguilera should have been with someone in NSYNC, and then Britney Spears, someone in Backstreet Boys. But I feel like that was the hierarchy. But then Timberlake just took off.
And that's exactly where I was going. So like Backstreet Boys was initially bigger than NSYNC, right?
I think they always NSYNC had some big hits too, but I feel like Backstreet Boys definitely owned NSYNC through the years when they were both together. But solo wise, no one comes close to Timberlake.
Well, and so did NSYNC have any other heartthrobs other than Justin Timberlake?
JC Chazé.
He was a heartthrob?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they kind of had their version of Howie, which was Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
And then Lance Bass.
Okay.
Who
were y'all more into, Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera?
Christina Aguilera, no question.
Yeah.
I was Britney back then, for sure.
I don't get to bring this up often, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. But there was a recent shuttle that SpaceX sent to the space station, the International Space Station, and it was called they called it like the Red Dragon or something like that, right? I forget exactly the name of it, but whatever, like one of the last one was that they sent the astronauts up to the International Space Station. Supposedly, Lance Bass was originally supposed to be on that flight as part of some sort of promotion or something like that. But last minute, he could not go. Maybe COVID protocols or something like that. He wasn't able to go. And so but whenever they do all the numbers and all the math to work out the logistics for sending the shuttle into space, they have to account for the weight of everyone on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Lance Bass backed out at the last minute, it's a little fun fact I heard that they actually had like barrels of water or something like that on board to represent Lance Bass's weight.
That's funny.
So I always wanted to I would buy on eBay if they put up like the Lance Bass barrels. I would totally buy that just to just have a weird spot in your basement where people are like, well, there's barrels over there. That's Lance Bass's body weight in water.
So there's some other history with Lance Bass going to space. He was supposed to fly to space with the Russian Space Administration, the Russian Space Agency, back in 2002. He was going to fly from Kazakhstan, boosted by corporate sponsors, but the TV sponsors and producers failed to raise 20 million, so the Russians kicked him off the crew.
Wow. Is he just a space lover or something? So I'm not confusing those. You see both of those instances, Ryan?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Huh. Well, what do you say we rate this son of a bitch?
Let's do it.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I really like the actually I've had 2 sips of this. It's a cherry vanilla cream drink, right? That I was drinking earlier today. That was really good. So kind of piggyback off that.
That's probably why you thought it tasted like cream soda.
No, I mean I drank some water between. I think I had 1 sip of that 2 hours ago, but I really love cream soda. So all that vanilla was nice. The creamy and richness of it. I really like decadent bourbons. There is a little of that oakiness or just something that tweaks it a little bit, which if you could get rid of that little, I don't know if it's over oak or whatever happened in the process. I mean, it's still a very good bourbon. Notes of chocolate.
It's not a bourbon.
Rye, excuse me. No, a lot of notes of chocolate, minty at times as well when I was drinking it, which I thought was cool, which I haven't had a lot of whiskeys that we've tried during this podcast that give you a minty flavor towards it. And it's not overbearing. I thought the finish was great. You could have a sip 5 minutes ago and it's still there. I'm going to go an 8.4 It was very good. I really liked it. My sample's gone. I'm just a sucker for anything decadent, I think. And I had some Angels Envy Rye the other day, and probably like rescoring that would probably be like a 9.5 for me now. I can't get over how good that bottle is. But this is really good, and we know MGP does a lot of good things for distilleries who source through them, but they should try to become a little more well known with their own product because it's good.
So 8.5.
8.5.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with an 8.9.
Whoa.
I
Damn.
really like this one, man. I guess I just like MGP products. That's not me being that's not me pandering either. That's
Yeah.
I just always seem to be rating them highly, and some people may like poo-poo that, but it is what it is. I mean, if they keep making good products, if everywhere I turn there's another good MGP product, it just is what it is. I do agree with Ryan, like I was saying earlier. There's some note at the end of it that it hits a little stale for me, but it does pass. It's not like that's the entire finish or anything, but that is the only thing keeping it from being in the nines to me. Otherwise, I was going to give it a 9.0. I wrestled with, I really think it's close to being a 9, but I couldn't quite get it in that range just because of that one thing holding it back. And it's so elusive and hard for me to even describe what that is that I don't like, but I just know it's there, you know? But every other part of the experience, the nose, the immediate burst of flavor that you have once you start drinking it, all that is killer. I love the warmth afterwards. If it hasn't been such a warm, kind of muggy few days recently, this is a perfect one to have in like the fall and the winter out on the deck or something like that. It's just, it really warms you up and gives you that nice feeling that it's everything you want in a rye. That's all I can say. Yeah, definitely one to look out for. 8.9.
I mean, 55, $60 too.
Yeah.
Well,
Under
it does
retail.
say like SRP is 70. I think it's an 8.7. I think it's fantastic. I think that it's one that if you're still strictly a bourbon drinker, this is one that you'll drink and you'll say, "Holy shit, this is really fucking good." It's not a rye that's spicy. It's got some spice to it. It's got the characteristics that many people appreciate from bourbon, the sweetness, the caramel flavors. But what you got to remember is most of those caramel flavors come from the barrel, not from the corn. So it's got those caramel flavors, but it's also got a lot of vanilla flavors. And it's got some apricot flavors, and it's got some tobacco, and it's got some oak. It's just a really, really killer whiskey. So it's an 8.7 for me. It's if a store carries it, they have it in stock. It's never out of stock. If somebody wants it and a store sells it, it's always available. It will never be allocated. Literally, it will never be allocated because it's an MGP product. They're the ones who source, they sell their shit to other people. So how are they going to run out of their own stuff, right? This is one you've got to drink. You've got to break out of that shell of bourbon and say, let me give this one a try. And even if the label is a 5.0, grab it. You'll love it. It's so fucking good. And grab this one. Bottled and Bond, sure. Grab that one too. It's good too.
And I think even from a marketing standpoint, like from marketers, but also from suppliers, right? From the MGPs, the Luxcos, the Sazeracs, the Brown Formans, right? And the distributors. We don't do a good enough job telling the consumer how good ryes are and how you should drink ryes. Nobody's talking about that. So, I mean, and if like you want to put your money where, talking about bourbon shortages and all and everything like that, I'd probably put my money into the rye market of what's really going to take off. We've had this 10-year boom it's not going to be like that forever, but you're starting to see these novice whiskey drinkers become, yeah, they know what they're talking about now. So eventually the hope is they're going to be rye drinkers after that.
Another brother show. Another brother show. Another brother show.
You know the guy who played Lane Price in Mad Men?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Give me a minute and I'll think of it.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Jared Harris.
Jared Harris. Yes. His dad was Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore.
Ah.
And Richard Harris, if you're ever bored.
Fuck, you guys are good.
Were you Googling that stuff when we were talking?
What's that?
Were you Googling those people when we were talking?
So I'm not shitting you. You said, who was the guy that played Lane Price on Mad Men? And I Googled Lane Price Mad Men. Before I could look over here and say Jared Harris, Steven said Jared Harris.